Card number 14. For this problem, you need to know how to work with percentages. So let's get started. You're going to see a few different ways that I like to work with percentages in this solution video. There are two ways to do this problem, and one is a little bit more advanced. So first I'm going to show you the slightly less advanced version, and then you can watch along to see if the advanced version makes sense, but again, it is a little trickier to follow. So, all right. Anytime we have percentages and word problems, I always like to write it out as an equation right away. Remembering that percent is always written as that number over 100, of always means times, and then is or, equals or whatever means equals. All right, so 40% of times a number, n, x, whatever, is equals 68. So now this is what we're solving for. What is 60% of that same number being x? All right, so I love writing my word problems out like this right away because it's so straightforward. Now you know exactly what to do. You want to solve this for x, and then you want to plug it in, and this is going to be the solution to the problem. Okay, so always write out your word problems into math right away. All right, so we want to solve this equation for x. So how would we do that? We have two things being multiplied here. We have a 40 over 100 times x equals 68. We want to get x alone. So if these are being multiplied, we want to divide by 40 over 100. The important thing is to remember how to divide a fraction. And everyone has a different mnemonic device. Everyone has a different way that they remember this process. For me, when I was in school, it was when you divide by a fraction, you multiply the reciprocal. So 68 times the reciprocal, which means when you flip the fraction. So as you can see, I put the 100 on top and the 40 on the bottom now. So that is how you divide by a fraction. You just end up multiplying the reciprocal of the fraction. You put 68 over 1 so that you can multiply straight across, because when you multiply fractions, you go straight across. And you get 6,800 over 40. We have zeros we can cross out. Now, let's do the long division and figure out what 4 into 680 is. And you can pause if you want to do it on your own and then check. Okay, so it equals 170. Now, this is not our answer, and that's, a common problem is putting down the answer or the solution to x rather than finding what they actually have asked you to solve, which is 60 over 100x, or 60% of x. So now we have to plug that into our answer. 60 over 100 times 170, which is x. And again, you go straight across. So 60 times 170 over 100. And what I want to do is before we multiply this out, I want to cancel the zeros. Since everything's being multiplied, we can cancel zeros among the different numbers. So for example, 0, 0, we can get rid of that 0 and that 0. And now we know our answer is just 6 times 17, because it's being divided by 1 now, which just keeps it the way it is. So 17 times 6, let's do that out. 7 times 6 is 42, 102. And 102 is our answer. Okay? Now quickly, I want to show you something up here. And this is the more advanced version. So if this was a little bit confusing, then maybe just stop here and memorize this method. But let me quickly show you. If you have 40 over 100x equals 68, and we're trying to get to 60 over 100x. This is kind of the more advanced students will learn how to solve for what we're looking for rather than doing this two-step process of solving for x and then plugging in. So what we can do here is, if you understand fractions on a very deep level, then you can figure out how to turn 40 over 100 into 60 over 100. And if I just show you, it would be by multiplying by 60 over 40. And remember, anything you do to one side, you must do to both sides. So, in this case, what we've done is, when we multiply by 60 over 40, we now have a fraction 60 times 40 over 40 times 100, x equals 68 over 1 times 60 over 40. And if you see over here, there's a 40 on the top of the bottom of the fraction, top and bottom. And so those cancel out, and we're left with 60 over 100x equals this. All right, and so you can see how we kind of did one step. We kind of manipulated the equation to make it into 60 over 100, and we really just have to now multiply 68 times 60 over 40 to find the answer. And if you solve that, you multiply straight across 68 times 60 and then divide by 40, you will get 102. All right, so that also leads you to the correct answer. So that's just another way to do it. If that didn't make much sense, it is a little bit more complicated, but it's all about manipulating the equations until you get what you're looking for.